Hello everybody, Eaglefirefly Gaming here, and I hope you are all doing well. Well, here we are in Turner with the Stellar Transmuters. You will have seen a previous video of mine about the Stellar Transmuters potentially failing, and it would appear if you watch the latest scope video that the transmuters have caused extensive damage to the sun, and the sun is expected to reach a critical phase on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eve time. As you can see here, the sun is doing some extensive pulsing, and it would appear that the sun is becoming unstable. There is a couple of carrots here that I'm going to show you, a couple of Easter eggs that we can find. Along with that, as well as the transmuter in Turner, we find that the VARD, I'm going to switch here, is now unstable. I'll show you how you can figure out that these are unstable. Initial look at the transmuter in VARD, when you actually look at the sun, that everything does actually appear normal until you look into a little bit more detail. You can actually see with the rendering that every so often there is a flash and a pulse from the sun, and it would appear that it has become unstable. And also, previously, when we first investigated these, if you look at the center here, where the stellar transmuter is projecting into the middle of the sun, you can now see this. I'm not too sure if you can see my mouse, but you can now see there's a red tinge or a red glow coming from that. You can actually adjust your brightness to emphasize this up better, as you can see there. There's also a way as you can increase the brightness, and you can also see various things with the star when you increase the brightness, but we'll come on to that a little bit later on. So we'll just reset that. Now, something interesting I have found with the transmuter in the VARD system, which is not unlike the other transmuters, in the Turner system with the failure. The transmuter in the Turner system basically, it looks like it's caused damage to the sun, but randomly strange things do happen with the transmuter in the VARD system. So if you look in the previous video with the findings that we found in the RSHAT system, basically if you look at the construction of the transmuter, you can see the 3 exhaust ports down there, and there is one active in the RSHAT system, and basically that activates because it creates some kind of singularity for a weapon or an engine, and it basically charges these pipes here. You can see the smoke coming from the pipes, charges the pipes, and the singularity, or someone will correct me on the name of it, gets created here. So basically it makes cores, which these transmuters don't appear to be doing. Now randomly, this transmuter seems to be coming under some kind of failure. So if we go down to the exhaust ports down here, I'm using the space mouse, you can see down here, randomly what happens is they basically start pulsing with exhaust. And I've observed it a couple of times now, but I can never seem to catch it while recording. But it starts off as like a puff and a huff, and then streams of gas come out of the exhaust ports. At the same time, up here, if you follow this pipe network down here, which I'm not too sure on the construction of these, and not seeing any schematics, but if you look down here, there's some kind of wheel and connection point where there's some kind of machine here that looks like it would unfold. As you can see here, there's definitely some kind of mechanism here. Now, if you zoom out and you see this pipe work down here, so you follow the center of the screen, this pipe work down here starts venting some kind of exhaust. So it starts at the bottom, vents here, comes round to this point here, starts venting here, and this point here, and then up here where the actual laser is, about there on both sides, exhaust seems to escape from there, like the transmuter is under some kind of pressure. Now it would appear, under sort of speculation here, is that this transmuter has become under poor maintenance and is possibly going to imminently fail, which may be a different kind of chain to the one in Turner. It would appear that the one in Turner has overloaded the sun, but one theory that I had is that you'll see this Tetramon have been involved in some of the smaller fine print, and it's possible that these units could have been sabotaged. Now we were thinking that the Amar have created this and it's caused damage to the sun via creating it, but the more that you look into detail, for example up here, one common consensus between all of them is this vent right here. So if you look here on this pipe here, there is a vent and you can see the smoke coming from the vent. Now this vent is a connection piece between this pipework here, and if you go to the one in the Arshat and have a look, basically this pipework here is what generates the energy to the singularity cores. So if there is a problem here, it's potential that this system is under immense pressure, and assumingly that's why it needs to be shut down. But if the pressure is at this point, you have to ask the question as to where the pressure is being built up. So that's a little bit of an investigation that I've done. I've done some quite extensive observation of these. I've spent more time in these systems than I have with my doing anything else. So I just keep trying to find these clues. But one thing that is key is in the Turner system. So one thing for sure is that in this system is potentially going to go liminal on the 2nd of November at 5 o'clock. We will be here. I will be streaming this live from 4 PM. Initially, it will be just a visual stream, and we'll see what's going on, have various perches set up. So I'll just go and see how we found out about the instability. So a few of the comments that I've had recently with some videos that pictures that I have uploaded to Reddit and YouTube and some of the various pieces of information outlets that we've done is that how do we know that the star is unstable, and how do we know what's going to happen the same as Turner? So what we do is we basically go to we're currently in the VARD system on one of the characters, and what we do is we look in for telltale signs of any changes. Now one notable change here is, I'm not going to move the ship around, but the star is in the top left corner as you can see, is when you're in a normal blue star type system, the ray from the sun for the sun beam is basically comes diagonal through your screen, which means that the sun is outputting at 100% and you're going to get the sun glare. Now one of the key things in the Turner system was that while the star was causing problems, as you can see there was a slight pulse there in the top left, one of the key things is that there was a blinding flash of light reported in Turner. So that's one of the key things that we are looking at the moment. So while we are waiting for that to happen, notably the reason why it wasn't picked up in VARD is because the frequency is not yet as long as the one in Turner. So initially when I came out here, it was like I was going crazy and it wasn't happening, but so we're just going to sit here and wait. But one thing we are going to do is quickly go through this article here while we wait. So it basically says that the desperate evacuation efforts in Turner as the star instability continues, and goes through about the populations of Turner and how the ships involved from the various factions are attempting to move as many people from the planet Turner 1, basically to save them, and they want to pull them out from the inner zone of the system. So it says that the increasingly energetic flare pulses from the central blue star gave rise to alarm in the last week. So what we're observing here in VARD is the start of what is going to happen. So you have to bear with it because it's not as frequent as it is in Turner, so that's why we're just waiting. And since the activation of the Imperial type prototype stellar transmuters in orbit of the star, a number of changes have been observed. So basically the pattern follows a linear curve. So we're going to you time this flare, which you may have seen pictures of probably try and pull my Reddit post up here, but this is what it looks like in VARD. So you can see here from left to right, you can see the flare coming from the sun. So this basically, the time frame of this shortens between each pulses, and then you plot that onto a chart, and then it will project the narrowing pulses of how long this thing is going to take, which hasn't been done yet because I haven't had a chance to monitor in with that much data just yet. So then it goes on about the various mechanics of the sailing catastrophe, which if you watch one of my previous videos, you will see some very slight details on that. I touch on that very, very loosely. But basically, it was at the start of the time around the Caroline star phase, and when wormholes were coming about, and the sun emitted radiation bursts and basically scorched the planet and turned it into a shattered world. It talks about capsular evacuations. I'll put a link to in the description below about this. But one of the key things, so it goes on with some detail. So there's a little bit of information down here in the news in the brief. And basically it talks about, there's some Easter eggs in here. So it basically says about the Caldarian Navy fleet build-ups with the counter-aggression. And then there was also, earlier on in the week, earlier on the weekend, there was claims about capsular claims of gate instability. So it was first, it was basically found that the gates were pulsing. Now if we go, I'm going to leave this open because you can see in the top left here whether it's going to pulse or not. So if we go to, say, the asset gate, for example, we'll just warp there. I'm going to stay cloaked so I don't give away my perch. We'll keep an eye out on the flashes in the corner. Let's just open this. There we go. Capsular claims of gate instability and future breakdowns prompt SEC to continue assurances over the gate network. So somebody had done an observation of the gate. I'm probably a bit too far now. And it did appear at the time that the gates were pulsing. Like they were in the Triglavian invasion. Now, in all honesty, when I was doing this, I inspected the gates for a good 45 minutes to an hour to see if there was any pattern to this. And it didn't actually appear, well, it did to me at first. There's a flash. You can see the flash in Turner there now. So that was part of the instability detection. And we're getting that in VARD, just not as frequent. See how close the pulses are now. So when we just do that, so somebody thought that when we was looking at this that the gates being unstable was linked to the Triglavian invasion, where the gates may possibly shut down and create a new system like Pochevin. Where it either connects to Pochevin or, whether it creates its own triangle. We call it, in faction warfare, the Taft Triangle. So it's entirely possible. One theory that we did come across was that it could be an isolation of the Taft Triangle. Tough speculating that one. I'm not sure whether that one's going to stick. But one thing's for sure, we will know on Wednesday, tomorrow at 5 PM when this thing either blows or doesn't blow. But looking at it with the build-up, it certainly looks like that something is going to go on. And there we can see it in VARD. So if you just caught it on the top left, see that? So just before I started this video, there was the initial pulse. So the pulses are around 7 minutes, between 6.5 and 7 minutes. So if we use the Turner system as an example, you see how closely frequent those are now. So let's just have a quick look while we was talking there. So there's a pulse there. So they're approximately coming closer every probably 4 or 5 seconds. So it would appear that something liminal is going to happen with this star. There we go. And there it goes again. So if we just go back to I'll take this character back to the star, and then we'll come back here. One thing I would like to just show off a little bit if you like. I can't really do it with the space mouse, I don't think. I will try. Let me just drop this down to really slow speed. So at the moment, CCP have got, let's just sort the visuals out here. Let's move that there. Really enjoying this event at the moment. So there we go. There's one more thing I would like to show you, which is pretty cool. So this is the new Plex offers that they've got going on at the moment, and this is an example of the Punisher skin. So I actually, let me just move that to full speed, get a bit of afterburnage. So this is one of the new skins. I forget the name of it. Let's have a look. Lower that down. I do forget the name of it. It is the Sanguinary Savant, however you pronounce it, skin. And I have to say, it is one of the nicest skins that I own in the product. I really like the blue flames across the top and the bottom. So if you're considering the pack with the reflections, it is really definitely worth a look at this if you're interested. So if you were slightly interested before, hopefully this will tip you over the edge. So we're just going to go back to the star here. So that is how you... oh no, I don't want to do that. So that's how you detect what's going on in the systems. So if you can actually take note of that, and if you really want to, you can plot a chart out of how this thing is going to pan out. I'm sure somebody will do it and monitor the pulses and the output and come up with a date of when the VARD system is going to fail or come to its liminal phase. I personally don't know how to do that, so good luck to anybody that does have a look. Okay, so one final thing. Somebody brought this to my attention. I'm not going to say who, but somebody brought this to my attention, which is very, very cool. Okay, if you look at the sun, actually we might be better doing it here. Oh no, we can do it in both. No, we'll do it here. So this is in the Turner system. So we talked about brightness. So if we drop the brightness down on the game client, you can see that it looks very eerie, very cool. I like it like this because it looks just like Pochman, doesn't it? But if you go and drop it to maximum brightness, something very interesting happens. It's going to hurt your eyes a little bit, so a bit of a trigger warning. Something very interesting here. So if you look in the centre, you can see an anomaly in the centre. But if you look outwards, does it look like something to you? It looks like something to me. What do you think it could be? If you drop that in the comments and see what you think that looks like. But I have an idea of what it looks like to me. So see what you think. But that's, you can do that. You can basically come to the sun and turn the brightness up, and you can have a look. Could it be a wormhole? Could this turn it supernova into a black hole? Could it be a black hole? Could it go supernova and turn it into a black hole? It's entirely possible. But something is definitely going to happen on tomorrow at 5 PM. Save that so I know my settings. If you want to see the settings, there you go. You can feel free to steal those, pause it and steal it, do what you want. Or that'll do. So yeah, so that is it. So that is the status of the Turner system. That is the status of VARD right now. Arguably, it doesn't look very unstable at the moment. It's not pulsing, but we're only getting pulses every 7 to 8 minutes. And if you look in the Turner system, you can see how really unstable that star is getting. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm going to upload this late Tuesday PM. So the everyone can try and get in on it for tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Please come and check it out. I will just leave it in lurk mode, maybe a little bit earlier. See how we go with connection and things like that. We've got a little bit of a storm coming in the UK, so hopefully it doesn't affect us too much. But I will throw that up as soon as I can. So thank you for watching. Keep an eye out on the channel. There's some lore things going to be coming up, which hopefully tie into all of this. I've been working on a bit of a plan, a couple of requests as well, to try and things. One more thing, if any of my followers, if you want something to do. So there's another Easter egg in here, which I'm not actually sure whether it actually leads to anything, but that's one thing that we're going to go into. So number one, the Saint Tetramon have secured some kind of technological artifacts. What are those? We don't know. And the other thing we've found is to do with Core Azor somewhere. Saw something in here. Can't find it now. There was a comment in here about Core. Here it is. So if you read this, there's something in here about units being found. They're investigating a planet in the Core Azor system. So it might be worth going to have a look there. I'm certainly going to have a look there. I can't quite find where it is in here, but I did find it. So we'll talk about Turner 1, capture evacuations, Uli. So Uli are being dragged into this. Captain Marshall. Okay, here we go. So, however, unconfirmed reports from the Penny system in Aradia claim that Royal Canin Navy vessels have been surveying locations in close orbit of that system's star. Very, very interesting. So that is something that we're going to have a look at, maybe a little bit later on. So keep an eye out on information on that one. So I've been Eaglefirefly, I've been your host. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you tomorrow.